shoot. So this is my camera. So when I'm looking at this. Yeah. All right, bet. Say less.
What's up, everybody? It is another episode of We'll Name This Podcast Show Later.
Yeah.
With my brother Teasy. How you feeling today, bro?
Feeling amazing. Blessed and unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? Excited to get into it.
It's a Friday. It's another Friday. Feeling good. Long week. How you felt this week, man? What you got done this week?
Whew. What didn't I get done this week? Man?
Okay.
Every facet of the business. Product development.
Okay.
Customer success.
Okay.
What does it take? Talk to partners. Talk to big potential partnerships. Got footstepped by my investors. While also doing all of the things to get ready to get some money in this thing too. So it's just like, it's nonstop. You know what I'm saying? I can't complain it.
Wow.
That's probably like 20%, you know. This week, like Monday feel about 3 weeks ago. So,
yeah.
You know. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that junk is crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I think what we gotta do, bro, we gotta bring these people into the fold, because I think people just heard a whole bunch of big boy talk, right? And like, whew, that's a lot. Investor, product, sales, mark, you know what I'm saying? The things or whatever. We gotta take them to the 10 out, bro. So like, break down exactly how you even got into business to begin with.
How to even get into business to begin with. So I'd always been entrepreneurial, right? Like in real life. I would say my first real business was with Paco at Quran in real life, right? And, you know, we were selling T-shirts and all of those kind of things or whatever. And that's going to be important for the Tax Wiz story, like the real business, right? Mm-hmm. So even at that time, like it was like 17-hour bus rides to New York to go. We thought that, if you go to New York, that's where you make it. So we were going to like rap in the middle of the street. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, my fault. 17-hour bus ride.
17-hour bus ride, yeah. We found it with the go-to bus, gotobus.com. I found it online. You know, we was broke, so it was like $60, $70 or whatever per person. That's a whole other story. The amount of people that'll be on a $60, $70 bus ride to New York. I was just telling you, bro, it's sketch. You know what I'm saying? Real sketch. So we were doing that, and then like, you know, selling T-shirts, all of that kind of stuff or whatever. Which led to when graduated, right? And then me, my dad, Stanley, which is a whole nother story for a whole nother episode or whatever. But he was a super entrepreneur. And I remember when we was in like the getting to know process, he was telling me like, yeah, you know, been in business, all this kind of stuff. This is before I knew the level of business he was talking about. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got a business too. Yeah. You know, we do this. And he like, produce it, artist. You know what I'm saying? I like, well, we selling these shirts. We sold all the we selling merch. I like, it costs us $10 to make. We sell it for $20. He like, 2x margins. You need 5x. Like, what are you doing? It was my first time even hearing something like that. Like, I guess I do need 5x. You know what I'm saying? Tell me how that work or whatever. But that was like the first facets or whatever before I even get into Tax Wiz. Yeah. Let me bring that question to you. Yeah. Before all of this, like, what were some of the first things in entrepreneurship that you were saying in the early days? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For me, it's interesting, bro, because it's interesting for me. First kind of layer of entrepreneurship, I'd say, is when we were in college together. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, pledge A5A, shout out to the bros in the building, you know what I'm saying? But we were approaching that thing militant, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were approaching it militant. It's like, no, like, I had never did anything where I generated like $10,000, $15,000 in a night. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We're doing it off of a college party, and it's like, oh snap, like that's cool. But then you do it like every single month, and it's like, hold up, you just generated like $40K. You know what I'm saying? In a semester, you know, all right, how do you handle the paperwork for it? Okay, where are you putting that money towards? Well, you know, we're still a nonprofit organization, so you got to, you know, do charitable works and things like that, donate, give back to the kids. But it's like, hey, how do you use this money now, take it into marketing, piece it together, stuff like that, bring the entire state to, you know, a little small town in Alabama or whatever. So to me, that was like kind of like my first exposure. And I thought it was interesting with what you said about like Stanley talking about like the 5X and things like that. Because I feel like a lot of times, bro, it's like you don't know what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like you thinking you're doing something with like, yo, I'm selling shirts, bro. It cost me $10. I'm flipping it to 20. Or like, you know, I'm thinking I'm doing something like, yo, bro, we just threw a party and it's like $10,000 in a weekend or whatever. And it's just like, no, bro, people out here living in a completely different way, doing all types of things with their business. And it's like, unless you're exposed to it, kind of like how you broke down, like Stanley exposed you to like, yo, no, like you need to be thinking 5X, you need to be thinking 10X, you need to be thinking this, you need to be thinking that. Yeah. That's when the realm of opportunity, you know what I'm saying, really opens up. And I think that's the dope thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that kind of goes into like the importance of mentorship, playbooks. Like I think that to your point about exposure, right? It was a time where we were really like having a conversation about is it experience that we need, right? I think experience gets you a long way. I think experience helps you with like not making the same mistake and all that. Yeah. And it was actually Maya who said it when Hunter was talking. And you're like, is it experience or is it exposure, right? Because there's somebody right now who could be doing a thing, right? Let's say that you are a photographer. Let's say that you are an event planner, whatever the case is, right? You can be doing that for 5 years your way and have a, you know, kind of have a flow and feel like you're doing good. But there's somebody who can come 1-2 years in and get with a multi-million-dollar mentor who's showing them how they film Kim Kardashian, how they film all of these big people and the equipment you need and all that can surpass you in a matter of months, right? It's exposure. Yeah. You just seen it done at the highest level and all those kind of things. So, like, I think that's a big thing towards, like, why when people say mentors or, like, can you get into these spaces and meet certain people and all of that, that's why, like, that really matters for sure.
Yep. Yeah, what they say, yo, your network is your net worth.
Facts. Yeah.
Bars.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more like the exposure piece, right? So in real time, both of us ran a tax business together, still running to this day or whatever, right? Built that tax business to over $1 million in revenue every single year in just 4 months of working, right? How do you even get to the point of getting a tax preparation business to $1 million in revenue?
Yeah. That's a journey in itself, right? So getting a tax prep business to $1 million in revenue, right? I look at this in levels. I think that when you first starting off a business, you started off as a solopreneur, I'm going to be all things kind of business, right? Yep. And in those businesses, you really can only ever get to, I call that like the 100K and under. You can make more than that, but in reality, like your bandwidth is like 100K and under. So I think one of the things that we did well immediately was when we started TaxWiz, it was immediately like big business thoughts, right? And when I say big business thoughts, that is, how do you set up a real business where you have a customer service system and you have a automation system to help you go faster. You have a marketing system, right? Even if it's not like using software and all of those things. So what we learned kind of in the journey was, hey, it was always iteration. How fast can we try to get customers? How fast can we make this system better? How fast can we respond better? And so on and so forth. How fast can we provide excellent service? How fast can we get referrals? And all of that kind of stuff. And then just kind of letting it go exponential over and over and over and over, right? So I want to break this up in phases, right? So I'm going to start with phase 1. and I'm gonna bring it back to you.
Yeah.
Take me through phase 1 before that $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. First 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Like, one, what if you had to go back and remember? Like, what was it like in phase 1? What was the biggest lessons learned, and what things that people could have skipped if you had just known better? How we even talked about mentorship and exposure.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like you really said it kind of earlier on, but I feel like the mindset of big business out the gate. If you can get that first and foremost, a lot of the other stuff becomes easier, right? So what do I mean by that? I feel like a lot of times, like entrepreneurs, let's say tax pros, let's say truck drivers, let's say lawn care businesses or whatever, right? The thing that happens is like everybody's like, yep, I'm in it, I'm a small business. Yep, I'm in it, I'm a small business. Yep, I'm in it, this is my business, right? And they approach it in the lens of like, I do the work, right? So it's like, hey, if I own a trucking company, I drive the truck, right? Hey, I own a tax prep business, I do the taxes, right? And I think that's one thing that we did out the gate really, really well, and I got to give you your credit. So out the gate, it's like, no, we think big business. So it's like, yeah, like our first tax season, we're doing the tax returns, right? But next tax season, we're hiring people to do the tax returns for us, right? Hey, that next tax season, we're our own customer support or whatever. But the tax season after that, we're hiring people to be customer support. And you kind of, when because out the gate, it's tough to be like you said, it's like, yo, bro, like you don't wake up one day and be like, you know what, I'm about to build $1 million business, and the next day you got it. It don't work like that. I don't care what service bureau tells you, you know what I'm saying, like whatever. Yeah. It don't work like that, right? But it's like over time, as you're doing what we like to call like the nasty work and like learning the operations of your business, learning the things that it takes for your business to go and grow and things like that, you just start implementing like systems in it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's kind of one thing that we did really, really well. And we did it ultimately with friends, ultimately. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you want to kind of like elaborate on that a little bit more as far as like, like who in your circle matters, work with that. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I think that that was one of the cheat codes of like pledging early on, was being able to kind of find people who thought like you. So like even like making a decision to do business, do other things, and all of that kind of stuff. Like it don't have to be, I got to do this so I can hire somebody and tell them what to do, right? I think the best businesses are formed with partners at the end of the day, right? So I think early on, like being able to find a squad that complements each other. Like, I'm not the person that like to put myself out there and post all day. Like that ain't just my personality type. But if you get somebody like Justin who does, guess what? You know what I'm saying? That thing is hell to, right? I know like strengths and weaknesses with like setting up this stuff and like automating stuff and doing all of these creative things. And, I could sit there and figure it out, but Jordan can do that 30 times better than me, right? And, I like to live up here as a visionary or whatever the case is, like, and it's like all of the tactical, the day-to-day, the stuff that got to be done and so on and so forth. It's like you do that 30 times better than me at the end of the day, right?
Let me ask you a question, bro.
Yeah.
I don't even mean to cut you off, but as you were talking, I'm like, all right, bro, let me put you in a scenario bag, right?
Okay.
Scenario, let's say you're starting today, you're at 0. You got to do it all over again.
Yeah.
What are the steps you take to do it all over again? Any facet of business, right? Tax prep, startup, tech, whatever it is, right? How do you go from 0 to 1 and then 1 to 100?
Yeah, the first thing I do, so I'm a student of the game. Like, I'm immediately going to do my research, understand what the market is, what the problem I'm trying to solve. Because remember, businesses are trying to solve problems at the end of the day.
You gotta say that again, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You gotta say that again because it's like we don't want these nice to have businesses.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's the thing. So they got this saying. They talk about it in tech, but you really can put this into anything, and that is like build an aspirin, not a vitamin, right? And when we say that, that just means that like, man, like, how many people take their vitamins every single day, right? I do now, but it was a long time where I didn't. But when your head throbbing, right, at the end of the day, like you going to get that aspirin, like you know you need that aspirin. It's not a nice to have. It's not a if I got enough money to also add it or whatever the case is. And that's any business in the world. If you look at it from that lens, and look like, no, this is a problem that people will pay me money for because they actually need it, not because they're doing me a favor. That's the you know what I'm saying? That's business, right?
I think that's, but to me, it's like somebody had told me this stuff a while ago. It's like, hey, making money is ugly, right? And it's like, it has this like cute parts about it and stuff like that or whatever, but when you get into like that nitty gritty as far as like, no, like, are you solving a problem? And I get it, like a lot of people like got businesses where it's like, hey, like, I post and I make some money from it, or hey, I kind of got this thing going, I make some money from it, and it's cool, don't get me wrong, and you can scale that to enormous heights, but it's like at the end of the day you have a vitamin, which isn't bad. Vitamins still sell, but it's like, nah, if you want a big business, find an aspirin. And I think even like thinking of like the tax business that we built back in the day or whatever, it's like everybody's looking at it, it's like, bro, y'all doing taxes? Like, that don't even make no sense. Y'all aren't accountants. Y'all aren't like financial
engineers, right?
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, like, how are y'all going to get this done? But like, the thing is, like, because we're building a pain problem solving type of business, our marketing doesn't have to be like the most fanciest in the world. It's like, it don't matter like if you file with us or not, you got to file. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you put yourself out there enough times, somebody's eventually going to trust you. And then that person refers you to another person. Then that person refers you to somebody else. Before you know it, you're making $10,000, $100,000, $500, you know what I'm saying? And you just keep going from there.
So that'll be step one. Like, that's step one. What's the real problem I'm trying to solve? Right, and going deep, because the problem isn't the same for everybody, right? Which goes into the next part with what is your ICP or your ideal customer profile. What we learned in TaxWiz was, hey, yes, we do taxes, but then that turned into, hey, we serve a lot of young professionals, to, hey, if you are a entrepreneur, you're just graduating college and making all this money, don't know what to do, you're doing other things in side business, let us show you how your tax return can now superpower all of your dreams and the things that you want to do by being able to get financing, by being able to do it right to get more money to invest into your business and all of those things. Once we got that down, this is a problem all these people just don't know, right? You can't get that on a TurboTax or doing it yourself at the end of the day, right? It's like, of course, you got a referral machine, right? Right? So that'll be step two. After I do that, that's when it's like, I got to find the partners, right? Because now I understand the problem that I'm trying to solve. So it's like, just like I said, starting off with people that you either work with, friends or associates or whatever the case is, who can complement my weaknesses. Because doing business is hard.
Hard work.
That thing is tough. I don't care what you do. Everybody try to make it look like, oh yeah, jump in this, make $1 million. Like, I don't care. It ain't easy, like, no matter what industry it is. So I don't want to make it harder for myself by trying to do it myself and do everything myself. Just having at least one person, right, that you can bounce ideas off of. They take this part, you take this part. You got somebody that you doing this thing together and continue to expound and expound and expound. That'll be the next thing I do. So, if it's a tech company, I understand the power. I would get a technical person with me, you know what I'm saying? If it's a super physics company or whatever, like, I'm looking for a physicist. Like, you get that part, I can get us to market or whatever the case is. But that would be my next step, right? if I had to do it all over again.
That's fire, man. So hopefully people were able to get some value out of this conversation. I had fun talking business. I ain't gonna lie. I definitely had fun talking business.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We got more stuff coming. Catch you later. How y'all felt?